6 of us rented a beach house in North Carolina for spring break. Found it on one of those vacation rental sites. Looked perfect in the photos. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, right on the beach. Split 6 ways. It was cheaper than hotels. We were juniors at state, needed the break after midterms. Me, my roommate Jake, his girlfriend Claire, and 3 others from our dorm floor. None of us knew each other that well before college, but we'd gotten close over the past 2 years. This was supposed to cement it, you know? Make memories. We arrived late Friday night, around 11. The house was older than the photos suggested, paint peeling, wood warped from salt air. But it was right on the beach like advertised, and we were too excited to care. The owner had left the key under a mat with a note. "Enjoy your stay. Please don't go in the basement. Flooding issues. Not safe." We laughed about it. Classic horror movie setup. Jake even did a spooky voice. "Whatever you do, don't go in the basement." The first night was perfect. We built a bonfire on the beach, drank cheap beer, stayed up until dawn talking and watching the waves. No cell service, no Wi-Fi, completely disconnected. Exactly what we needed. Saturday morning, Claire found the door. Not the basement door, we'd seen that. Padlocked and marked with caution tape in the kitchen. This was different. A door in the hallway upstairs that wasn't in any of the listing photos. It was painted the same color as the wall. No handle, just a small keyhole. You'd miss it if you weren't looking. But Claire noticed because there was a draft coming from underneath it, cold air that didn't make sense given how hot the rest of the house was. "Maybe it's an attic access," Jake said. "For AC or something." I tried the door. Locked. No key anywhere we could find. We spent Saturday at the beach. Forgot about the door. That night we heard sounds from behind it. Not loud, just soft scratching, like fingernails on wood. Rhythmic. Persistent. "Probably raccoons," Marcus said. He was pre-med. Always had rational explanations. Old beach house. Animals get in the walls. The scratching continued until about 3 a.m., then stopped abruptly. We all heard it, 6 of us lying awake in our rooms, pretending to sleep, listening to something scratch at that door from the inside. Sunday morning, the door was open. Just slightly, maybe an inch. That cold draft was stronger now, and the smell coming from inside was awful. Mildew and rot and something else. Something organic and wrong. "We should leave," I said. "This place isn't right." But Jake had paid the deposit, non-refundable, and we only had 2 more days. "It's just an old house," he insisted. "We're not going to waste spring break because of some weird door and animal noises." That night, Sarah went missing. We'd been drinking on the beach, came back around midnight, did a head count. 5 of us. Sarah wasn't there. We called her name, searched the house, checked the beach with flashlights. Her phone was in her room, wallet on the nightstand. But she was gone. Jake wanted to call the police, but there was no cell service. The landline in the house didn't work. We'd tried it the first day. We'd have to drive 20 minutes to town. "Maybe she went for a walk," Claire said, voice shaking. "Maybe she just needed air." We waited, searched again. Nothing. Around 3 a.m., we heard her voice. From behind that door. Faint, muffled, calling for help. Jake tried to break it down. Slammed his shoulder into it over and over until he was bruised and exhausted. The door wouldn't budge. It wasn't even dented. Marcus found a crowbar in the garage. We pried at the edges, tried to force it open. Nothing worked. The door was solid, immovable, like it was part of the wall itself. Sarah's voice got weaker, then stopped. We drove to town at dawn, found a police station, reported her missing. They came back with us, 6 officers and a detective. They searched the house, top to bottom. There was no door in the upstairs hallway, just a blank wall, painted in smooth, like there had never been anything there. "You kids been drinking?" the detective asked. His tone wasn't accusatory, just tired. They found Sarah's belongings, confirmed she'd been there, put out a missing person report, checked the beach, the water, the surrounding area. No trace of her. We left that day. Couldn't stay. The owner refunded our deposit without question, didn't ask why we were leaving early, like he'd expected it. Sarah's parents hired private investigators. They searched for months, never found her. Eventually, she was declared dead, cause unknown. I looked up the house later, found newspaper articles from 10 years ago. Another college group had rented it for spring break. One of them disappeared under similar circumstances. Girl named Amanda. They never found her either. Before that, 15 years earlier, same thing. Different group, another missing girl. The house is still listed on vacation rental sites. Different photos now, different description, but same address, same beach, same basement you're not supposed to enter, same note about flooding. I check the reviews sometimes. Most are normal, generic, great location, beautiful beach, would rent again. But every few years, there's one that's different. Always removed quickly, marked as violating terms of service. But I screenshot them when I find them. They all say variations of the same thing. Don't go in spring break. Don't bring 6 people. Don't trust the upstairs hallway. Someone will disappear. I still hear Sarah's voice sometimes, late at night, calling for help from somewhere I can't reach. Muffled, distant, like she's behind a door that doesn't exist anymore. It was supposed to be a 12-hour drive from our campus in Ohio to Miami for spring break. 4 of us crammed into Ethan's beat-up Honda Civic with our luggage strapped to the roof. We left at 4 a.m. to beat traffic, planned to drive straight through with only gas station stops. Everything went fine until we hit Tennessee. Around 2 p.m. we saw the detour sign. I-75 South closed ahead. Follow detour. Orange signs led us off the highway onto a 2-lane road. Rural Tennessee, nothing but trees and the occasional farmhouse. The detour signs kept appearing, leading us deeper into back roads. "This seems long," Lisa said from the back seat. She was studying the GPS on her phone. We should be back on the highway by now, but there were no on-ramps, just more detour signs, more winding roads. The towns got smaller, then disappeared completely. Just forest and crumbling barns and rusted mailboxes. After 40 minutes, Ethan pulled over. "Something's wrong. We haven't seen another car in 20 minutes. We checked our phones. No service." The GPS had stopped updating miles ago, frozen on a road that didn't seem to exist on the map. "Let's just turn around," I said. "Go back the way we came." We did. Drove back along the same road, watching for the detour signs in reverse. But they were gone. All of them. Like they'd never existed. And the road looked different somehow. Narrower. The trees closer to the pavement. We drove for an hour and never found the highway. Never found any of the landmarks we'd passed on the way in. Just more trees, more curves, more road that seemed to stretch impossibly long. The sun was setting when we saw the town, if you could call it that. 6 buildings clustered around a intersection, all of them old. A general store with faded Coca-Cola signs in the window. a gas station with ancient pumps, a diner called Rusty's with flickering neon. "We need to ask for directions," Ethan said. "Figure out where we are." The diner was the only place with lights on. We parked and went inside. 3 people sat at the counter, 2 old men and a woman, all drinking coffee, all turning to stare when we walked in. The waitress behind the counter smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Welcome," she said. "Y'all lost?" "We took a detour," Ethan explained, "trying to get back to I-75. Can you tell us where we are?" "You're here," she said simply. "Need some coffee?" "It's fresh." The other customers were still staring, not blinking, just watching us with expressions I couldn't read. "We just need directions," Lisa said, voice tight. "Can't help you there," the waitress said. "Road only goes one way when you're lost. You'll figure it out." We left, got back in the car. Ethan drove faster now, taking turns at random, trying to find any road that looked like it might lead to civilization. The sun set completely. The roads got worse, potholes and gravel. We passed the same diner 3 times from different directions. Each time, the same people sat at the counter, turning to watch us pass. "This isn't possible," Maya whispered. She was the math major, logical and steady. Now she sounded close to panic. "We're driving in circles, but the roads are different. This doesn't make sense." Around midnight, we saw headlights behind us. First vehicle we'd seen in hours. An old pickup truck, maintaining distance, following us through every turn. Ethan sped up. The truck matched our speed. Slowed down, the truck slowed too. It never got closer, never fell back. Just followed, headlights steady in our rearview mirror. "What do they want?" Lisa asked. We drove for another hour. The truck followed. We were almost out of gas. The needle below empty. Engine sputtering. That's when we saw it. The highway entrance. I-75 South. Exactly as it should be. On-ramp and everything. Ethan gunned it. Pushed the car up the ramp. The truck didn't follow. It stopped at the base of the ramp, idling, watching us go. We made it maybe 5 miles before the car died, completely out of gas. But we were back in the real world. Traffic passing, lights in the distance, cell service returning to our phones. AAA came and towed us to the nearest station. We refueled, checked the map. According to our GPS history, we'd driven in a straight line. No detour, no back roads, no circling. Just straight down. I-75, like normal. But it was 6 a.m. We'd lost 16 hours. 12 hours of driving through roads that apparently didn't exist. And 4 hours we couldn't account for at all. We made it to Miami eventually. Didn't talk about what happened. Didn't tell anyone. Who would believe us? But I looked up that town later. Searched for diners named Rusty's in Tennessee, general stores with old Coca-Cola signs. Never found anything matching what we saw. I did find one thing though. A forum post from 8 years ago. College students from Pennsylvania. Spring break road trip to Florida. They described the same detour, the same endless roads, the same diner with people who stared. They made it out too. Lost 18 hours. Couldn't explain it. The last line of the post said, "Whatever you do, don't take the detour. And if you see it, don't stop at the diner. Because I think if you stay too long, you don't leave at all." I still take road trips, but I never take detours anymore. I'll sit in traffic for hours before I'll follow an orange sign onto an unfamiliar road, because I remember those people in the diner. The way they stared, the way they didn't blink or move. And I remember thinking, in that moment before we left, that they looked like us, college age, wearing clothes from different decades, like they'd been college students once too, like they'd taken the detour and never found their way back. I spent junior year abroad in Barcelona, sharing an apartment with 3 other students from American universities. We met during orientation, decided to room together since the program housing was limited. Better to pick your roommates than get random assignments. The apartment was in El Raval, old building, 4th floor walk-up, 3 small bedrooms, 1 bathroom, tiny kitchen. But it was cheap and close to our school, and we didn't plan to spend much time there anyway. This was Barcelona. We'd be out exploring, traveling, living the experience. Move-in day was August 15th. Hot, humid, the kind of Mediterranean heat that made the stone buildings feel like ovens. The landlord met us there, older Spanish man who spoke minimal English. He gave us the keys, pointed out the basics: water heater, fuse box, roof access for laundry. Then he pointed to a door in the hallway. Small, easy to miss, painted the same faded green as the walls. "No abrir," he said firmly. "Don't open. Storage. Dangerous. Old building. Structural problems. You understand?" We nodded. He left. We moved our stuff in and forgot about it. The first month was perfect. Classes were easy, the city was incredible, we traveled every weekend, the apartment was just a place to sleep and occasionally cook dinner. The locked door didn't matter. Then October came, and things changed. My roommate Lauren started having nightmares. She'd wake up screaming, couldn't remember what she'd dreamed, just that it was bad, dark, suffocating. Then Chris started having them. Same description. Dark, suffocating, a feeling of being watched. I was next. The nightmares were always the same. I was in a small, dark space. Couldn't move, couldn't breathe, could only listen to footsteps above me, walking back and forth. Slow and steady, like someone pacing. We all described identical dreams. That should have been our first clue that something was wrong. The 4th roommate, Amanda, said she didn't have nightmares, but she started staying out later, coming home at 3 or 4 a.m. When she was home, she was different, quiet, distant. She'd stand in the hallway staring at that locked door for minutes at a time. "There's something in there," she said one night. "Matter of fact, I can hear it moving." We listened. All of us stood in that hallway, ears pressed to the door. Silence. Nothing. "Amanda, there's nothing there," Lauren said gently. "You're stressed. Maybe homesick. We should call the program coordinator, get you some help." Amanda laughed. It sounded wrong. "You don't hear it because it doesn't want you to." "Not yet. It's still deciding." The next morning, Amanda was gone. Her room was empty, clothes and laptop and passport all missing. She'd packed up and left without telling any of us. We reported it to the program. They contacted her parents, checked her bank accounts. She'd bought a plane ticket home, was back in Minnesota. When they called her, she said she couldn't explain why she left, just that she had to. That something was wrong with the apartment. The program offered to move us. We declined. Semester was almost over. Seemed easier to stay. That was a mistake. The nightmares got worse. All 3 of us now. Every night. And we started hearing it during the day. Footsteps behind that door. Slow. Steady. Pacing. Chris tried to open it one night. Frustrated and exhausted. Got a screwdriver. Tried to pick the lock. It wouldn't budge. The door was solid. Lock rusted shut. Or maybe not even functional. The next day, Chris didn't come home from class. We got a call from a hospital. He'd collapsed on the metro, unconscious. They couldn't find anything medically wrong, but he was in some kind of catatonic state. Eyes open, breathing normal, but completely unresponsive. He stayed like that for 3 days, then suddenly woke up screaming, thrashing. Took 4 nurses to hold him down. When he finally calmed enough to speak, he said he'd been trapped somewhere dark, couldn't move, could only listen to footsteps above him. He left Barcelona the next day, dropped out of the program. I heard later that he never really recovered, spent the rest of junior year in therapy. That left me and Lauren 2 months until the end of the program. We talked about leaving, but neither of us wanted to quit. We'd worked too hard to study abroad, spent too much money, dreamed about it for too long. So we stayed, avoided the hallway, stopped having nightmares, which should have been a relief, but somehow felt worse. Like the apartment had decided something about us. Last week of the semester, Lauren went into that hallway. I woke up around 3 a.m. and found her standing there, hand on the doorknob of that locked room. "Lauren?" She didn't turn around. "It's open," she said quietly. "It's been open this whole time. We just couldn't see it." The door was still closed, still locked. But Lauren was turning the knob, pushing it open, stepping through into darkness beyond. I grabbed her, pulled her back. She fought me, stronger than she should have been, desperate to get through that door. I dragged her into her bedroom, locked her in from the outside, stayed there all night, listening to her bang on the door, begging me to let her out, saying she needed to go back. By morning, she was herself again, confused, exhausted, no memory of what had happened. We left 2 days later, end of the program, got on our flights home. I haven't talked to Lauren since. Don't know if she's okay, or if Barcelona changed something in her permanently, the way it did to Chris. But I know I'm not okay, because I still dream about that apartment, about that locked door, and in my dreams it's open, always open now, showing me what's inside. A small, dark space, stone walls, low ceiling, the kind of place where you couldn't stand up, couldn't move, could only lie still and listen to footsteps above you. I looked up the building's history after I got home. It's old, built in the 1700s. During the Spanish Civil War, it was used by Franco's forces. The apartments above were barracks. The storage rooms below were cells. People died in those cells. Dozens of them. Locked in the dark, forgotten, left to suffocate in spaces too small for human beings. I think that door in our hallway wasn't storage. I think it was one of those cells, still locked, still holding something that died there 80 years ago, still waiting for someone to open it and let it out. Would you stay in a rental where someone disappeared under mysterious circumstances last year? Senior year, 5 of us drove to a 3-day music festival in the desert outside Las Vegas. One of those massive events with camping, multiple stages, 20,000 people. We'd been planning it since freshman year, saved up, bought tickets the day they went on sale. The festival was everything we'd hoped. Great music, perfect weather, that sense of community you only get when you're young and surrounded by strangers who love the same things you do. We camped in a tent city with hundreds of others, stayed up until dawn, lived off granola bars and energy drinks. Third night, around midnight, I got separated from my group. Cell service was terrible. We'd arranged to meet back at our tent at 1 a.m. I wandered through the crowds, trying to get my bearings, following the sound of a band I recognized. That's when I saw the stage that wasn't on the map. Small, set back from the main festival area, half hidden behind a tent selling food. Just a platform with some lights and speakers, maybe 40 people watching. The music was incredible, haunting. A woman's voice singing over acoustic guitar. Words I almost understood, but not quite. Foreign language, maybe, or just old. Something ancient and half forgotten. I moved closer, drawn in. The crowd was swaying, eyes closed, completely absorbed. I joined them, let the music wash over me. It was beautiful, hypnotic. I don't know how long I stood there. Long enough that my legs got tired, my throat got dry. The song never seemed to end, just kept building and building. That woman's voice getting stronger, more urgent. Someone grabbed my arm. I turned, saw one of my friends, Jake. He looked terrified. "We have to go," he said. "Now." But the music, there's no music. There's no stage. You're standing in an empty field, staring at nothing. I looked back. The stage was still there, the singer still performing, the crowd still swaying. But when I looked at Jake, I saw the fear in his eyes. Real, genuine fear. He pulled me away. I fought him at first, wanted to stay, wanted to hear how the song ended. But he was stronger, more desperate, dragged me back toward the main festival grounds. As we got further away, the music faded. And when I looked back one more time, there was nothing. No stage, no lights, no crowd, just empty desert and darkness. "What the hell was that?" I asked when we got back to our tent. Jake's hands were shaking. "You were gone for 6 hours. We looked everywhere. Security helped us search. Then I found you standing alone in the middle of nowhere, swaying like you were listening to something, but there was nothing there. Nothing." The others confirmed it. They'd been searching since 1 a.m. It was now almost 7. The sun was starting to rise. But I'd only heard one song. Maybe 20 minutes of music. Tops. We left that morning, cut the festival short. Everyone was too freaked out to stay. On the drive home, we looked up the festival grounds online. Found the history of the land. 40 years ago, before the festival started, there was another music event at the same location. Smaller, more intimate, folk music, mostly. Last night of the festival, a singer named Marianne Cole performed her final set. During her encore, a dust storm rolled in. The makeshift stage collapsed in the wind. Marianne and 17 audience members died. The festival was shut down after that, the location abandoned for decades, until 5 years ago when a new company bought the land and started the current festival. I found a recording of Marianne Cole online. An old vinyl rip, scratchy and faint. Started playing it. It was the same song I'd heard. Same voice. Same haunting melody. I turned it off after 10 seconds, hands shaking, because I remembered something. In those 6 hours, I'd lost. Standing in that empty field, I hadn't been alone. 40 people around me, all swaying, all listening. And when Jake pulled me away, when I looked back and saw nothing, I'd only seen the stage disappear. I hadn't watched the crowd disappear, because they'd been real. They'd been there. Other people standing in that field, listening to a song that never ends. People who'd been there for hours, days, maybe years. Trapped in the music, unable to leave, unable to stop listening. I looked up missing persons reports from past festivals. Found 6 over the last 5 years. All from the 3rd night. All last seen around midnight. I think about them sometimes. Wonder if they're still there, in that field, listening to Marianne Cole sing her final song. Wonder if they know they're trapped, Or if the music is so beautiful they don't care. Wonder what would have happened if Jake hadn't found me. If I'd stayed for the end of the song. If there is an end. Or if it just plays forever, keeping its audience captive, the way Marianne's real final concert was supposed to go before the storm cut it short. 8 of us rented a cabin in Vermont for winter break. One of those deals where you split it 8 ways and it's actually affordable. We'd all been friends since freshman year. This was our last winter break before graduation. We wanted to make it count. The cabin was 40 minutes from the nearest ski resort, up a private road that hadn't been plowed yet. We almost got stuck twice on the drive up, but we made it, excited and ready for a week of skiing and drinking and forgetting about our senior thesis papers. First 2 days were perfect. We skied all day, came back exhausted, cooked big dinners, played drinking games by the fire. Everything college kids are supposed to do on ski trips. Third night, it started snowing. Heavy, the kind of snow that accumulates fast. By morning, we had 18 inches and it was still coming down. The road down the mountain was impassable. We called the resort. They said plows wouldn't make it to private roads until the storm stopped. Could be 2 days, maybe 3. We weren't worried. We had plenty of food, firewood, water. We'd just extend our vacation, make it a real snowed-in experience. That night, we heard the knocking. 3 sharp knocks on the front door, loud and deliberate. We all heard it, all turned toward the sound. "Someone's out there," my friend Rachel said. In this storm, we opened the door. No one there. Just snow and wind and darkness. No footprints, no tracks, nothing. The knocking came again 10 minutes later. 3 sharp knocks, same rhythm. We opened the door faster this time. Still, nothing. It happened 6 more times that night. Always 3 knocks. Always nothing when we opened the door. Just the wind, Kevin said, shaking the door. But it didn't sound like wind. It sounded like knuckles on wood. Purposeful, patient. The next morning, we found something in the snow. A trail of footprints leading from the woods to our door, stopping at the threshold, then leading back into the trees. Bare footprints. In 18 inches of snow, in below zero temperatures, human-sized, but wrong somehow. The toes too long, the spacing between steps too wide. "Someone's messing with us," Jessica said. But her voice was uncertain. The knocking continued. 3 times that day, 4 times the next night. Always the same pattern. Always nothing visible when we opened the door. We stopped answering, decided to ignore it, wait for the plows, get out as soon as we could. That's when things got worse. We started finding things moved in the cabin. Small things. A book placed in the freezer. All the kitchen knives arranged in a circle on the floor. Our car keys buried in the snow outside. "Someone's getting in when we're asleep," Marcus said. He was our engineering major. Logical, steady. Now he looked scared. "We need to keep watch." We took shifts, 2 people awake at all times, watching the doors and windows. The knocking continued, but nothing got in. Nothing we saw anyway, until the 5th night. I was on watch with Rachel, sitting in the living room at 3 a.m. We heard footsteps upstairs. Slow, heavy, walking through the bedrooms where our friends were sleeping. We grabbed flashlights, crept upstairs. All 6 of our friends were asleep in their rooms, doors closed. But the footsteps continued, walking down the hallway, floorboards creaking. The footsteps stopped at the top of the stairs. Rachel shined her flashlight up. Nothing there, just empty hallway. Then we heard breathing, right in front of us, at the bottom of the stairs. Slow, raspy, like someone with damaged lungs. We could see the air condensing, visible in the cold, forming with each exhale. Something invisible was breathing at us from 3 feet away. We ran, woke everyone up, told them we were leaving immediately. Storm or no storm, impassable road or not, we were getting out. We packed in 10 minutes, threw everything in the cars, and tried to drive down the mountain. Made it maybe a quarter mile before we got stuck. The snow was too deep. Cars wouldn't move. We abandoned them. Hiked down the mountain in the storm, 8 of us trudging through waist-deep snow for 5 hours until we reached the main road. A plow driver saw us, picked us up, took us to a hotel in town. We were all treated for hypothermia. Minor cases, we'd gotten lucky. Could have died out there. The cabin owner was furious when we explained why we'd left. Said we'd abandoned the property, left it unlocked, that we were responsible for any damage. We didn't argue, just paid the security deposit we forfeited and tried to forget about it. But 3 months later, I got a call from Vermont police. They were investigating the cabin. A family had rented it the week after us. Parents and 2 kids. The kids had disappeared, just gone in the middle of the night, no trace. The parents heard knocking, 3 sharp knocks, and when they went to check, their children's beds were empty. Police found tracks in the snow, small bare footprints, child-sized, leading from the kids' bedroom window into the woods. They followed the tracks for 2 miles before they just stopped, ended in the middle of the forest. No explanation. They asked if we'd experienced anything unusual during our stay. I told them everything. The detective listened without interrupting, then thanked me and hung up. I looked up the cabin later, found its history. 30 years ago, 3 college students rented it for spring break. One of them died in a hiking accident, fell off a cliff during a snowstorm, body not found for 2 weeks. Before that, in the 70s, a family of 4 stayed there. The father killed his wife and 2 kids, then himself. Snowed in, isolated. Something snapped, and before that, in the 1,950 seconds. The cabin was owned by a doctor who used it for private treatments. He disappeared one winter. Cabin found empty. Signs of a struggle, but no body. The cabin is still rented out, still listed on vacation sites, still has 5-star reviews from people who don't experience anything unusual. But every few years, someone goes missing there, usually in winter, usually during heavy snow, usually when they're trapped and isolated and unable to leave. I think about those kids, 8 and 10 years old, walking barefoot through the snow, following something that knocked 3 times and wore their shapes well enough to fool their parents. I wonder if they're still walking, still following that thing deeper into the woods, unable to stop, unable to go back, the way we almost did, the way we would have if we'd stayed one more night. Our sociology class organized a spring break volunteer trip to New Orleans. 20 of us, rebuilding houses still damaged from Hurricane Katrina. This was 2015, 10 years after the storm. But there was still work to be done in the lower 9th Ward. We stayed in a church, sleeping on cots in the basement. Days were spent hammering and painting and hauling debris. It was hard work, exhausting, but it felt good, like we were actually helping, not just talking about social issues in a classroom. The neighborhood we worked in was still mostly empty. Lots cleared but never rebuilt. Houses standing vacant. Streets quiet. Our crew leader, a local named Marcus, said the neighborhood had never really recovered. Most people left and never came back. Some streets, nobody lives there anymore, he said. Just empty houses and memories. We worked on a house on Tupelo Street. Small shotgun-style house, blue paint peeling, roof damaged. The owner, an elderly woman named Mrs. Sheremy, had been living with her daughter in Baton Rouge but wanted to come back. Wanted her house restored so she could die where she'd lived for 60 years. She visited us on the third day, brought lemonade, thanked us for our work. She was sweet, grateful. Exactly the kind of person who made volunteer work feel meaningful. This neighborhood used to be full of life, she said, looking around at the empty lots. Music every night, kids playing in the streets. Now, it's just ghosts. She said it casually, smiling, but something in her expression made me uncomfortable. That night, 4 of us decided to explore the neighborhood after dinner. We had flashlights, phones, wanted to see the area we'd been working in, document it, take photos for our class project. The streets were darker than I expected. Most streetlights were broken, never repaired. Houses stood dark and empty, some with windows boarded up, others just open to the elements. We walked for maybe 20 minutes, taking pictures, talking quietly. The silence was oppressive. No traffic sounds, no music, no voices, just our footsteps and the occasional dog barking in the distance. That's when we heard the music, faint at first, coming from a few streets over. Jazz, the kind you'd expect in New Orleans. Trumpet and saxophone, upbeat tempo, second-line rhythm. Someone's having a party, my friend Devin said. Let's check it out. We followed the sound. It got louder as we got closer, mixed now with voices and laughter. Sounded like a block party. Dozens of people. We turned onto a street called Humanity Street. The music was coming from a house halfway down, all lit up. People visible through windows, shadows moving on the porch. We walked toward it. The house looked different from the others. Well-maintained, painted fresh, lights on in every room. Complete opposite of the ruins surrounding it. As we got closer, I noticed something odd. The people on the porch weren't moving right. They swayed to the music, but their movements were off. Too slow or too fast, not quite matching the rhythm. Should we knock? Asked Sarah. Ask if we can join? I don't think we should, I said. Something felt wrong. The music was too perfect, too crisp, like listening to a recording instead of live musicians. Devin walked up to the porch anyway. Confident, friendly, ready to make new friends. He knocked on the door. The music stopped instantly. Complete silence. The lights inside the house went out all at once. And the people we'd seen through the windows, the shadows on the porch, they were gone. Just empty darkness. Devin backed away from the door, hands shaking. What the hell? The door opened slowly. Not all the way, just a crack. Darkness beyond, no sound, no movement. Then a voice from inside. Woman's voice, old and raspy. Y'all come to help? Come on in. We've been waiting. Something about that voice made my skin crawl. The way she said, waiting. Like she'd known we were coming. Like she'd been expecting us, specifically. We should go, I said. Right now. We ran. Not walked. Ran. Back the way we'd come. Behind us, the music started again. Louder now. Faster. Like it was chasing us. And mixed with the music, voices calling out, "Come back. Come help us. We're still here. We're still waiting." We made it back to the church, breathless and terrified. Told Marcus what happened. He listened without expression, then nodded slowly. "Humanity Street," he said quietly. "You shouldn't have gone there." "Why? What is it?" He hesitated. During the storm, the levee broke. Water came fast, 15 feet in 30 minutes. Humanity Street got hit hardest. 43 people died there, most of them in their houses, drowned before they could get out. He pulled out his phone, showed us news articles from 2005, photos of Humanity Street after the water receded, houses destroyed, bodies recovered, a neighborhood devastated. They bulldozed most of those houses years ago, Marcus continued. Humanity Street doesn't exist anymore. It's empty lots now. Has been since 2007. We looked at our phones, checked the photos we'd taken. The images showed empty lots and darkness. No house, no lights, no party. Just abandoned space where a neighborhood used to be. But we'd all seen it. All four of us. The house, the lights, the people. We'd heard the music. Devin had knocked on a door that apparently didn't exist. They come back sometimes, Marcus said, especially around anniversaries, September and August mostly, around the time of the storm. But sometimes, other times too, looking for help that came too late. Looking for someone to save them. It's March, Sarah whispered. I know, Marcus said. That's what worries me. If they're active now, in spring, that means something's changed. Means they're getting stronger. Means they're not just appearing on anniversaries anymore. We didn't go back to that neighborhood. Spent the rest of the week working on different houses in different areas. But at night, lying on our cots in the church basement, I'd hear it. Faint, distant, but definitely there. Music playing on streets that no longer existed. Voices calling for help from houses that had been demolished years ago. A neighborhood that drowned in 2005 still going through its final night over and over, unable to move forward. Unable to accept that no help was coming, that it was too late. On our last day, Mrs. Cherami came to see her finished house. She was thrilled, crying happy tears, hugging each of us. Said she'd move back in the following month. I hope you'll be okay here, I said. All alone. The neighborhood is so empty, she smiled. Oh, I won't be alone. My neighbors are still here. I see them sometimes, especially at night. They're just waiting for the rest of us to come back, waiting for the neighborhood to be whole again. The way she said it, so matter of fact, so accepting. Like she knew exactly what was out there. Like she'd been living with ghosts for 10 years and considered them neighbors. We left New Orleans the next day. I've never been back. Don't think I ever will. But I looked up Humanity Street recently. Found a news article from 6 months ago. Mrs. Cherami had moved back into her restored house. 3 weeks later, she was found dead. Natural causes, the article said. Died peacefully in her sleep. But the article mentions something odd. When neighbors checked on her, people from surrounding streets, not Humanity Street because nobody lived there, they found all the lights on in her house. And they heard music playing. Jazz, second-line rhythm, like a celebration, like a block party welcoming someone home. I think Mrs. Cherami knew exactly what she was going back to. Think maybe she'd been waiting 10 years to rejoin her real neighbors. The ones who never left. The ones still having their party on Humanity Street. Still calling out for help. Still waiting for people to come save them. Still looking for new guests to join their eternal celebration. And I think if we'd gone inside that house when the door opened, if we'd accepted the invitation to help, we would have joined them too. We'd still be there now, on a street that doesn't exist, in a house that was bulldozed years ago, playing music that never ends. And calling out to the next group of volunteers who think they're there to help. Can you tell the difference between a celebration and a cage disguised as one? This is Dread Dynasty, where nightmares come to life. Thank you for watching tonight's stories. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because the next nightmare is closer than you think. Check the channel for more interesting nightmare.